Okay, I can introduce it. Hello, everyone. My name is Comedian, and this, finally, is Jackpot Army. I don't know if you
Jackpot
go by
Army.
any other name.
Yeah, my name is Alex.
Okay, Alex. My name
So
is Comedian. That's on my birth
comedian.
certificate. It's on my birth certificate. It's Comedian, and no one can
All
prove
right.
otherwise.
And so is your last name Reacts?
It is. It is actually. And my middle name is Sometimes. That's a, a fun fact. My full name is Comedian Sometimes Reacts. I've been aware of Alex Jackpot's Army's videos for I think probably like close to a year or something. I think, checking out the competition, but also like one of my fans actually sent me a thing back when you had a video on your channel about, how you were going through like a cancer diagnosis. And they asked if I
Yeah.
could help out. So of course I did, because I'm a great person.
Thank you for that.
Well, also, I have family members that have cancer, It's not controversial to say, but fuck cancer. So, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I said that in my video as well. It's in the
right.
thumbnail, I think.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it is. Yeah, I can confirm. I saw that thumbnail. But the great news is, as far as I'm aware from the last update, and this is also true of my family member, you're in remission, right? Or it's
Yeah,
yeah,
it's basically just gonna be like that
yeah.
for the rest of my life, making sure everything's in check, that it doesn't come back, and hope for the best.
Yeah, so that is obviously fantastic, and thank you to anyone who saw my post and went over and subscribed or helped out or whatever. But anyway, enough about cancer.
Yeah,
It's a bit of a social faux pas. The exciting thing is, I like this guy's videos. I like his energy, and we're going to try and get to know each other, get a little bit of camaraderie going before we do these reactions, and maybe we'll upload it unless one of us said something obscene or or
I mean,
boring.
it could be edited out.
That is true. That is true. I've been live streaming recently, actually, and I do miss being able to edit stuff out. Before I started live streaming, I was like anxious. I was like, what if I say something horrible? Obviously I wouldn't, but I have anxiety and like sometimes like weird OCD,
Yeah,
and it's just like, what if I accidentally? I don't know. It's not like I think horrible thoughts. It's just, you can never fully trust your own brain.
yeah. Sometimes it just comes out, right?
Right, I'm secretly evil. So I guess I wanted to ask you first, and then you can ask me the same thing, or if you had any questions. But how? The most obvious question. And if I'm looking over here and that looks weird, it's because maybe I should just put you on this screen as we're not doing reactions right now. Maybe I'll just put you on this screen over here, so I'm not looking like in the corner of the room like I'm like seeing a ghost or something. So how did you get into? How can I show you on the screen without showing my screen? I feel like a granddad. I normally use Zoom. I don't more. Oh, I can turn off show my camera. That's excellent. That's excellent. Okay, cool. That's good. Okay, sorry. Pretend that never happened. So, how did you
Yeah.
get into reacting to BTS?
Okay, so this is my story. So before reacting to BTS, I had a channel where I reacted to anime.
Okay, cool, cool.
So yeah, I
I
was
s
doing that before.
Yeah, I see the
Just
crossover.
because, yeah, I was watching a lot of anime. I was uploading videos, and I had a lot of fun. So then one day, honestly, I was just bored, right? I didn't have anything to watch to react to. I was waiting for the next anime episode
Yeah,
for
to drop.
yeah, like every week, you know. So I
Yeah.
had nothing to watch, and I wanted to record something. And then I went on YouTube, and it was hours after Dynamite had come out.
Okay, all right.
It
So not
was
not that long ago.
yeah, it's I think it was August 2020,
Mm,
around that time. But yeah, like 2 years ago. And
yeah.
I just decided to make a reaction video to that out of curiosity. I even said, like in my very first video, I say in my intro, like, I know I react to anime, but I figured, hey, these guys, they got colored hair and they're Asian, so not too far off.
There's a
I
huge
remember.
crossover. There's a huge crossover. I got a sponsorship opportunity that I kind of ruined a bit, but from like a comics company. Like I think it was like Chinese comics, but very manga kind of adjacent.
Yeah.
And I was like, I bet my fans will. I bet this is this. I could see why this would work. Like you say, it's pretty obvious crossover.
Yeah, but actually, what ended up happening is that the people watched those videos. it didn't necessarily mean they liked anime. So it was very divided. The people
I
who
sound
watch
like an
my
idiot
anime
now.
videos. Yeah, nah, because I had like the people who watched me for anime and then the
Yeah,
people who watched me for BTS. So I just decided to separate it and made a
yeah,
BTS channel.
nice.
That's where that started.
Okay. Okay, I didn't realize that. So do you still do the anime channel, or did you focus all your energy on the BTS channel?
No, yeah, I focused on my energy because it was just a lot of work. Because I'm still in
Yeah,
school. I'm almost out. I'm
nice.
studying to be a programmer.
Yeah,
So
excellent. Wow. So you like Jesus? You've actually got like prospects. Like, wow, that's cool.
yeah, so that's basically me. Like a lot of people watched it, and obviously they wanted more. They would suggest more videos, so I did. And the more I watched, the more I ended up liking them. Because at first, I thought Dynamite was cool and catchy, and I liked it. But I'm not sure if I was like gonna continue to dig deeper
Mm-hmm.
into the group.
Yeah.
But that's when people commented like, "Oh, you should watch the introduction video to BTS or watch more songs." And the more I saw, well, the more I enjoyed them, and that's how it all started.
That makes sense because if I have to show BTS to people, or people are like, okay, I hear you're doing this BTS thing, like, recommend me some BTS songs. I wouldn't pick Dynamite, honestly. I mean, also this personal preference, but I think a lot of people feel that way. Like, I think they had a string of releasing kind of like English pop songs during the pandemic, which are just kind of supposed to be like feel good. But I think the reason BTS have such longevity, or is it longevity? It's one of the G sounds. They have such longevity is because like you know, they're actually, their songs, like, some of their songs are just, well, a lot of their songs are just so intense, they're so deep, they've got so many layers to them. Whereas Dynamite's like, it's a fun pop song. So I can see why if you started that way, you might be like, oh, I'm glad, you kind of stuck with it and like found out what they're about. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
cool.
never thought about that, but it's true since Dynamite was the first song I heard, and it's not really much depth to the lyrics.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I wasn't really too intrigued to like keep seeing more. Maybe if I would have started with another one, I would have been like, oh, this is interesting, want to see more. But it was thanks to all the comments who suggested more stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that definitely helps. Like, it's obviously a reason why a lot of people react to BTS is because the fans are so passionate. You could translate that as clout, or like But at the end of the day, like I'm the sort of person where like I can't probably the reason I'll never be like one of like the really massive YouTubers is because I can't fake enthusiasm. I really just like I can't.
Oh, we're the same.
Yeah, I get that sense. Like, so I found myself like enjoying BTS and being like, well, people like BTS. It gets more views, and I enjoy it. It's just, it just like if there was a band, that tomorrow that launched and they had like 10 times the views, and I reacted to them and didn't like it, I wouldn't just do it just because it got more views. Like I just couldn't. Like I just, because you and me, like people like me, we're making like videos every single day pretty much. You spend so many hours a week doing this stuff, and it's just like if you then like if you're doing it to be just if you're literally just doing it for the views, if you're just doing it for the clout solely, just purely alone, if you're a certain kind of person, it's not going to work. There are people out there who can put on a smile. I've seen them, you've probably seen them, who can be like, I love this is amazing, and I'm not even trying to throw shade, because I won't name any names, but there's hundreds of them. But also like it doesn't, like, to me, I don't judge them for that, and I think they still provide the service, like, because I understand why reactions are popular, and there's a reason I was drawn personally into doing reactions, because I was watching reactions and I was like, at first, I had that cynical, like, kind of like, old person attitude of like, it's like when the first time you see esports when I was younger, I was like watching people play video games, and then I watched them, I was like, I'm having fun watching people play video games, and then the reactions, I was like, well, why would you watch somebody else watching it? And I realized, oh, because I'm kind of lonely, and because it's nice to like share content with a friend, like, and it's also like I'm the sort of person, like, I like sharing music with people. I used to be obnoxious about it. I'd be like, check out this song, and there's a real joy in like seeing people be like, okay, yeah, I like this, and so I think that a reaction doesn't just fulfill the criteria of like sharing something with somebody. It's also sharing it and seeing them be happy about it, and kind of feeling like you're on the same page. I said all that as if you asked me a question. You didn't. I have ADHD and I talk a
No,
lot. So.
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just nice to to upload videos. That's also like when I did my anime reactions. I used to watch a lot of reactions before that.
Okay.
Like you said, it's fun. You feel lonely. Sometimes the reaction videos make you feel like you're watching with somebody.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just decided to give it a shot. And
Yeah.
I found it fun actually, which is why I continue to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It is fun. It is. Yeah. It is really fun. Like especially when you find a band you like, and I'm the same way. Like I have done other different bands, and I've jumped around a bit, and you didn't ask me, but the way I got into BTS was that like I started a reaction channel because I used to watch this guy called No Life Shaq, who you might have heard of, because he's like quite a big reactor.
Yeah,
he's kind of gone a bit off the deep end. He's like doing like reactions to like weird like far right rap videos, which is like, but he's like a very he's got a big personality, and I found myself watching his videos a lot, and I sort of thought to myself like, that looks fun, and also like I think I could do this. I don't know if I could do it as successfully as he does, but like I do video editing. Like I have like stage performance from like having done comedy and stuff in the past. I was like, it just seems fun. And then so I was doing like I was kind of just like dabbling different bands for a while, but BTS is the one that really stuck because I just really really liked the content, and it's just like and I think I've talked about this in other videos. When you go into the reaction thing, I don't know how it was for you, but like with a certain preconception about what K-pop is, which you just imagine like bubbly pink bubblegum pop and stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't really know what I was getting into, but I had an idea it might be a bit different from that. And then you go into it, and then I think the first song I listened to was Fake Love, which is a pretty good one. And then I think shortly after that I did Black Swan, which is really really good. And you sort of just realize like, oh wow, like this is like really deep stuff, and they sing about like depression and mental health and that stuff I'm like kind of obsessed with. It's just like, it's kind of mind-blowing like how different they are from what your preconceived notion of K-pop might be. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing I've been told many times, right? Because people have heard me or seen me listening to BTS, and they always get so surprised that some of the members are rappers. Right. It's like I guess people just think it's pure pop music.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what has always like, that's what shocks many people is what I've seen, that the fact that they rap.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is a huge part of their success, obviously, is the crossover. And obviously rap's a hugely popular genre right now, but just also that all the individual members are so talented, like, by themselves are also talented, which is why when BTS says, as a group, we're going to do a bunch of solo albums, no one's like, it's like, okay, cool, like, that sounds good, they've got the talent to back it up. Anyway, they have their own solo songs, so we've seen them, and we know they can do it. Yeah, exactly. They're all like very talented, like annoyingly talented and handsome guys, like quite annoyingly so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically like I did BTS, and then after a while, especially like when I've got a different kind of editing and recording process now, because I was like losing my mind basically. Like it used to be I would record and then I would like edit every video. Like I would apply my video editor brain to it, and I'd do every video, like I was editing like every frame almost, and I was literally spending like 5 to 8 hours editing each video and trying to upload like 4 or 5 videos a week, and just not doing anything else, not having any free time, and it was driving me crazy. And that's kind of okay when you feel like, how like in YouTube you'll see sudden spurts, and then you'll be like, I'm on top of the world, like correct, like I'm a king, and then like the next day it's kind of
it starts going down.
Yeah. And then how that becomes like your new normal. So like, whereas in the past you'd be like, all right, I made, I got 10,000 subscribers, I'm the king. Like after a month of that, you're like, oh, 10,000. It's just it's designed to like to make you feel a certain way, and to kind of always be searching for the next high in the algorithm. But yeah, I was just like editing so much and uploading so much that it just I was already burning out. So at the time I was just like, like this is just, I enjoy BTS the most. Like anytime somebody else says to me, why don't you check out this band? I actually get anxious because I'm just like, I don't have the time. Like I just
Yo, and now that I'm talking to you, I like relate so much, because like almost everything you say I've gone through or feel the same way. Because as well, me too, at first I was like recording a lot of BTS stuff. Like I remember there was a time where sometimes I would upload even like twice a day.
Yeah.
And I got burned out fast, and I realized, I can't really keep this up. I'm just tone it down.
Yeah.
And then when I think about like reacting to other groups or other stuff, I'm just like, I'm not sure I can.
Yeah, because it's like also maybe we're like similar personalities, but it's like if if I find a band I like as much as BTS, then it's like I'm trying to divide my attention equally two ways. But then if you find a band that you like for example, I think TXT is a good example because they're quite adjacent and people were like, why don't you check them out? And they're on the same label. So I was like, I feel like I can react to TXT and then not do it all the time. People won't really care because the crossover between, presumably between BTS and TXT fans is probably pretty big. So I've done a few TXT reactions, and I liked them, but I wasn't like obsessed. And I only heard a few, so like, and I also did some TXT crack, and they're also like really fun guys. Like, I can see the appeal, but in my head I was just like, if I start adding more and more bands, I did Red Velvet like a few times. I was like, I'm already thinking I'm not putting enough BTS content out there. Like the people are hungry; they're always like more. It's like, oh, it's like yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's just because all the groups have like so much content outside of songs.
Seriously,
so when you want to react to a group, it's like so many possibilities.
Yeah, there's so much content, and especially with bands like BTS and even TXT, when they're that popular, people are not only are they generating content, and K-pop seems to be like hardcore productivity, like they're pumping out albums a lot, like compared to other artists I like. Not only are they pumping out content, but then their fans are pumping out content like compilations, cranked videos, and it's like shoveling snow in a blizzard, and it's just like, and then somebody else is like, why don't you check out this band? As in like, why don't you shovel snow in this blizzard as well? And you're like, fucking hell, I'm not even coping with this blizzard right here. So yeah. So yeah, that's why I also, for like the most part, 99.9%, mostly doing BTS reactions because I enjoy it, and my fans enjoy it. I do kind of like, I think in the future I would like to branch out a bit more, but I think the other thing that maybe you can relate to is that when you have a smaller channel, it also feels like it's not good to like divert or divest your energies in different directions. You kind of have to focus it in one area when you're a smaller channel.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, that kind of also happens with like streamers or people who play like one single video game. Very similar, right? People watch them because of that game, and if they like play others, their viewership drops a lot.
Yeah.
But when you're really huge and already at the top, it feels like people will watch you do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the dream, I guess. But for me, that's not to say that like if I hit like 100k, 200k subscribers, I'd be like, JK, I never liked JK or RM or any of them. like I just it would be cool to like or even just to like be big enough to where you could share music and be like to help somebody else get discovered. But that's all like pipe dream stuff. Okay, so leading on from that, what kind of music do you listen to outside of BTS? Or like, if you wanted to react and be like, here, hello audience, check out a band I really like in my own free time. Like, what would you do a reaction to?
Right now, BTS is like the group I mostly listen to on Spotify. But before that, it was The Weeknd.
Okay, the rapper.
Yeah, he's a R&B
artist. R&B. Yes.
Yeah, so that was actually the genre I listened to mostly before. So it was artists like The Weeknd, Drake, Chris Brown, stuff like that. Also a little bit of rap. I used to listen to a lot of rap back in my when I was like 12, 11. Just because my older brother listened to a lot of rap, I guess I was like influenced by him. But yeah, afterwards, I just listened to a lot of R&B, hip hop, stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. Why?
What about
BTS...
you right now? How much BTS do you listen to?
It's like this was like a interrogation. I listen to a decent amount of BTS. I feel like it depends. Like I'm the sort of person, like I think because of my ADHD and my personality, I leap around a lot. And I kind of miss that. Like that's how I know. Like I'm happy with where I am mentally. Like I'm always working on my mental health, and I've had some really like kind of like dark spots and stuff. But I think music's almost for me a really good gauge of my mental health, like how I'm doing. And I think you can relate to that. Like people will be like, "Oh, I'm sad. I'm going to listen to My Chemical Romance or something." Like, And so for me, the thing with music right now, and don't worry, I will answer your question. This is just how I talk. My brain just goes in the loops. But for me, the thing about music is, I sort of. Like I miss how in the past I would get so obsessed with like one song and like have it stuck in my head, and because for me that was like a really like positive part of music. That was a proof that I was really enjoying it. it's been a while since a song got stuck in my head. Yeah, actually, and I think BTS kind of broke that jinx a little bit, so that was cool. But so what I tend to do is I'm always adding new music to my library, and I don't do Spotify. I'm kind of like, I might as well be a dinosaur at this point. Like I still use iTunes, and like I still buy music like a weirdo. So I'm always adding new music. So usually the answer is like, what do you listen to this? It's like whatever I added this week. But for example, the last, like, I'm still listening to J-Hope's new album because it was really, really good. Like I was just listening to Arson the other day in the car and just being like, this, I feel like that might be my favorite song off the album now. Like it's just like, I just really like the beat on it. But outside of BTS, I listen to a lot of like rap, like artists like Kendrick Lamar and stuff like that. A lot of English rap too. So there's artists like Slow Tie, Skepta, JME, who are really good. But I've been into rap for I've been into rap since I was like probably like 21, 22. I did a year abroad in America, and all my friends really got me into like American rap and stuff. So again, for me, it's like you have R&B and rap, and me you have rap. I mean, the other genre I listen to a lot is like dubstep, EDM. Like I'm really into that kind of stuff. But I think that's why it was so easy to get into BTS, because they have such a big rap background. They have a lot of, they have some EDM songs. You know, like I think that's one of the cool things about them is they have so many different types of songs and styles. They've got something for everyone, I feel like.
Yeah, funny you mentioned how you said before you would like get a song stuck in your head. That's basically how I listen to most of my music. I'll have like each week 1, 2, or 3 songs that I really like and I'm repeating a lot. And sometimes I just get tired of it and wait until the next one appears.
Sometimes the one thing I do like about having my own curation of music and stuff is that, like, although Spotify is really good for finding new music, I like my library of finding old music. As in, I'll click shuffle sometimes, and then the song will come on, I'll be like, oh, I haven't listened to this shit in like 2 or 3 years. Like, oh, it's still bangs, it's still a bop. So that's fun. But yeah, I jump around a lot. But So most recently, J-Hope I listen to a lot. It's also with me because it sounds like we actually talked about this before we turned the cameras on, I guess, but it sounds like you haven't done any crack reactions, which is fascinating to me, because you have hundreds of videos. I think you have more videos than I do, I think. So I assumed there was going to be some crack videos in there, but that probably means, like any sensible person, you've probably actually done the entire BTS discography, whereas I haven't.
Yeah, it took a while. It took a long time.
Yeah, but, I'm sure.
Eventually I did.
But you probably did it in order. You did it sensibly. Like I'm ADHD and I'm just like all over the place. And like I also I have a rule. It's like I'm not going to listen to a song if I haven't reacted to it, because I want my first reaction to be like genuine and honest. So I avoid listening to BTS music I haven't reacted to, and there's still quite a lot of that, just because I just randomly I'm sure people like follow my channel find it frustrating, because they'll be like, oh, why don't you start this series, and I'll start it, and the next week I'm doing something else, or like I'm doing a different album or something. I'm kind of all over the place, but I'm a bit like just a fly with different lights, a fly in like a rave where like different lights going on. I'm just like ooh like that.
Eventually what I ended up doing was that I realized that, because before I would react to one individual song, I would like listen to it, read the lyrics, and see a live performance. I realized that they have like 100 and something, almost 200 songs, and it would take forever. So I started doing them by like albums. Yeah. So I would I'll listen to an album. But the problem is, right, since I had reacted to songs before, sometimes it'd be like, oh, the album, but mine is these 2 songs because I already heard them, or mine is these. Yeah. But that's how I ended up getting past all the songs.
Nice. Like you said, getting past it, like it's because it is with BTS. It's like climbing it's like a mountain, it's like an expedition.
Because I wanted to listen to all the songs. Like I wanted to have on Spotify all their songs, see what they got. Yeah. So I was kind of also like I wanted to listen to them already. Didn't want to wait too long. That's why I ended up doing that. Yeah,
makes sense. It's so interesting to me that you haven't done crank videos, because it's like for some people that's like 80% of their reaction channel, and people probably won't talk about this, but I will, because I'm obnoxious. But like like I think a reason people like prank videos isn't just because they're fun, but because if you're a reactor, they're very easy to monetize because they've already been edited in such a way conveniently that they aren't copyright flagged. It's like I made a joke about this before, but it's like because there's I want to ask you about this, pick your brain on this too, but it's like I've always wanted to make a long form YouTube video about reactions and about how in YouTube they exist in this weird kind of gray area where they're not illegal, but they're not banned, or they're not like, you know, they're not like kind of downplayed by YouTube. They're not disencouraged or discouraged, but they're also not promoted and they're not really accepted, and they're kind of in this weird gray area. And I understand why that is. It's just unfortunate. And I think part of the problem is, even though reactions have been around for ages now, like, you know, there's still no thing on YouTube where you can be like, I am a reactor, you know, can I revenue share, or can I, like, maybe you would have an approval system where YouTube would check you out and be like, okay, this person's actually doing commentary, they're actually adding stuff and not just being like, wow, you know, like, because that is the problem with reacting, is that it's, you know, there is a line between actually adding your own stuff and really making your own video and really adding something people can't get anywhere else, and then just kind of letting the video play and being like, huh. So
yeah.
And I think most people, you know, are doing the former one. Most people are doing the one that is adding content and stuff, but there's still this stigma around reacting that that it's not proper content, or that it doesn't deserve to be monetized. And I think it's a big shame, because it's frustrating existing in this weird gray area where, you know, you can make all these videos and only get to like monetize 2 of them, but you still spent hours and hours, you know, a week making them, you know?
No, you know, I have an interesting story about that. So
okay,
a couple of months ago, I opened a new channel for KDramas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's something I wanted to try out. So I have this other channel with KDramas, which added a lot of work.
What's the channel called?
It's called Jackpot and Series.
Jackpot Series. Check it out, people.
Yeah. Well, so, okay, everything started off fine, right? You know, it added a lot of work because, first of all, you have to edit the reaction because, well, it's like a show, a TV show.
Right.
You got to be more careful with that.
Yeah.
So I had to, like, edit the parts where I talked, do a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't know if you knew, but K-drama episodes are over 1 hour long per episode.
I didn't know that. That's off-putting.
Yeah, so it was a lot of hard work, but I wanted to try it. And I kept doing it and uploading videos, and it started going well. You know, the views were going up until like 2 weeks ago. I got striked, but like 16 strikes at once.
Like proper strikes.
Yeah, I got pretty scared because I looked up what happens when you get striked, and then I got an email saying your channel will be terminated, and all, I forgot what the word was, but all like linked channels or something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, associated.
Yeah.
So I was worried about my BTS channel, so I started researching, and I was just afraid that all my channels were gonna get terminated, that I was gonna get banned. So I ended up messaging the company, and they actually responded. They told me to just delete the videos, but the problem is all my videos,
including your K-pop ones, or just all the K-drama.
No, not those.
Yeah,
just the K-drama ones, because we were on another channel.
It's not really a solution, is it?
Yeah. So I ended up like archiving all my videos, and I put those in like a Google Drives folder. So I continued to react like where I was at that point. I continue the episodes, the series I was. It's just that all the past videos, they had to be like saved somewhere else. And what I did was change the way I edit, because before I would have like the K-drama like in a square over here.
Yeah.
And then it would have stripes over it. And you could still see like what was going on, but I guess it wasn't enough. So now I am a bit more harsher with the editing. Like it's a bit more stripes. I think the corners, I like blur them out. The audio is a little bit distorted and quieter. So it's a whole lot more, and I hope that doesn't piss off the company.
But it's just I don't know, like those kind of stories, and that sounds, especially when you put so much work into it, and it's like a whole channel they're trying to take down. It's just, you know, because like you said, you spent hours editing that. No one's watching your videos being like, okay, I'm going to watch this new K-drama that just dropped. I can ignore this guy who's talking. I'm going to get the whole story. Like, that's not what happens. If you're reacting properly, nobody can watch the content. And there's even a thing on YouTube for that. I think I've successfully challenged some videos because it's called, like, I think the word is, like, transformative. And you can argue that no one's going to watch this content thinking, great, I can just ignore this guy and see the original stuff. Like, you know, it should be... Like, you know, I'm very good at that. People say I'm annoying and I talk too much and I pause too much. Like, no one's watching my channel to try and see the original content. If they do, they're very much mistaken. If you're a Jackpot Army stan watching this, then, you know, be warned. That's what you're getting into with my videos. But it's so frustrating because, like I said, reactions have been around forever. Why isn't there a revenue sharing system? Why can't you get approved? It's an approved... You know, it's just, you know, and it's not a new thing either. To me, a reaction is like a modern form commentary track, like you get on a DVD or a VHS back in the day. You know, there's nothing new about it. People talking about interesting topics and having the, you know, it as a reference behind them is fine. I understand why people are like, well, that's my content, but it also kind of isn't at the same time, and that's why there needs to be a proper thing on YouTube where you can revenue share. You can revenue share for song covers, for example. I don't know why you can't do that for reactions, but yeah. But back to the top of the topic, that's why crack videos are popular, not just to make, but to react to, because they don't monetize those. But the irony with the crack videos is they're edited in a fun way to make, you know, to make them compilations, to make them exciting. You know, they'll have zoom ins and wacky text and emojis and all that kind of stuff. But that editing, conveniently, is what makes it so it doesn't get copyright strike, because the zooming in and the emojis all makes it so the bots can't detect that content.
Well, are those videos similar to just like compilation or montage videos? Because I've seen stuff like those, like funny moments, you know, stuff like that.
Maybe it's just the word crack I'm using that you're just like, what are you talking about?
You know, and now that I'm listening to it, because like I said, I've seen like a couple try not to laughs and some like very, not too much, but a few like funny moment stuff. Or I've seen a lot actually of like moments between two members.
Yeah.
Like, like J-Hope and Suga moments, Jin and Jungkook moments. But I don't think those are crack. I think it just shows like their friendship and stuff like that.
Yeah, it depends. I think crack tends to have more chaotic editing, and like they usually have titles like, you know, Jin being an olive on V Live or something, you know, J-Hope being a donkey.
Yeah, I've seen a couple crack videos then, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, how you like, what is crack in your mind? Does it have to be like YouTube poop, like edited, like
yeah, just imagine it's gonna be heavily edited, and funny, just to make you laugh.
Yeah, I think some of them are. Usually, I think the laughter comes because, you know, BTS are like very funny individuals, like, you know, very silly kind of individuals. So, which is another reason why I think they're so popular.
And you can see that because they have so much content, right? And see what they do. Yeah,
it's the fact that people can make all these videos based off taking like just a few clips from like Run BTS, and they can make a separate video out of it. Like the guys basically exude content. It's like it comes out of their pores, like their, you know, music videos. It's just all of it. It's crazy how prolific they are, really. Okay, so what else was I going to ask you? So you're from Mexico, right?
Yes.
Do you think there's any way? I guess, how do I want to phrase this? Like what's, like, you know, a BTS popular in Mexico? I'm assuming it's the same as every country, where they, like, you know, do people know about them generally? Like, you know.
Oh yeah, I've seen them on the news.
Oh really? Okay, cool. Yeah.
I've seen Butter and Dynamite just randomly put on the news. I've heard J-Hope's chicken noodle soup in the local Walmart.
Nice.
And then, actually, you know how they had a concert in Korea a while ago, and that was in movie theaters?
Yes.
Well, the movie theater here, it was crazy. People were like sneaking in, running in. Like, since so many people snuck in, all the seats were taken, and there was a whole bunch of people standing up. So I think that showed that there is a lot of ARMY here.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there is. I meant more, like it's interesting to hear like how much is that, because I think there's ARMY everywhere, but then it's like how much does that bleed over into like the public knowing about them, like, or them being on the news, for example. Like, you know, I was doing a spin class the other day, which is like, you know, just exercise bikes, but in a room with people, so you have to go harder because they're watching, I guess. that's the idea of it. And, you know, they always play like really hype, upbeat songs to like get you cycling faster. And they played the new song with Snoop Dogg. you know.
Yeah.
So that was like, oh, okay, so now I'm hearing BTS in the gym. I also heard BTS at a yoga class I went to. Like they played like Set Me Free during like the final resting position or something for yoga. Like I've heard Butter at a roller skating rink, which was cool. So yeah, it is like really interesting to see like how, not just obviously how big is the fan base, but like how aware is the general population of this like phenomenon that's like happening, kind of.
Yeah, I feel like at this point most people know him. Even if you just mention the Korean band, or they might
Yeah,
have an idea.
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's interesting because I feel like, but it also means again it comes with like, I guess what I was getting at is it comes with like a preconception sometimes, like this memory still vaguely irritates me, but I was like meeting up with an old friend who I used to do comedy with, and he was like, oh yeah, he's like, I looked at your channel, he was like, you know, he was like, he sounded, you know, he was like, it's you know, he's like, so you're doing reacting. No, I think no, sorry, I'm getting stories mixed up. So he was asking me what I was doing, you know, and I told him I was doing a reaction channel, and he was like, oh, what do you react to? And I was like, oh, K-pop. And then he laughed, and he was like, then there was a pause, and he was like, oh, you're serious? And I was like, well, yeah. And I was like it's one of those, it's kind of interaction you like expect to have anyway, but it's annoying, you know, like it's annoying. And he was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. And he was like, wait, but do you actually enjoy it, or are you just doing it? And I was like, no, I enjoy it. Like, what? It's just like, I don't know. It's very close-minded. I kind of, again, you know, I'm not, this person won't watch the video. I'm not worried about that anyway. But you know, in case he did happen to watch, it's not like, I'm not saying this person's closed-minded. I think part of that misconception comes from thinking that BTS is sugary bubblegum pop. You know, maybe he knows me and is like, that guy wouldn't like sugary bubblegum pop, which is probably true. But at the same time, I think that's why it is interesting, like the difference between BTS and people's like, you know, preconceived notions of K-pop. And I don't know if you ever saw, there's some cool YouTube videos, like there's one called like BTS versus K-pop or something that goes into that. And how BTS, like, you know, they technically are K-pop, but they also like kind of aren't at the same time. Have you
Like
had an interaction like that?
Um, well, I feel like I used to be like that before. Like I also thought that BTS was just you know, pinkish purple pop music,
Right,
and that the other fan base was like only young girls.
right.
So I just feel like that is how most people who aren't aware of K-pop and all that's what they think. But I haven't really had any moments like those. Not with my friends. I mean, my friends know what I do. I told them of my channel, and they haven't really like made fun or said anything. Maybe they've thought about it or thought about making a joke, but no, I haven't really had any moments like that. I feel like at this point it's so popular that maybe that misconception is starting to go away. Maybe people are starting to realize that it's more than that.
Yeah, yeah, I'd hope so. I think it depends. It probably depends on, again, I think that's what I was talking about earlier, like the layers of societal awareness. Like obviously you have the fans who are very aware, and then that kind of bleeds over where people who are friends of fans would be like, oh, I'm not personally into that, but I've heard it's actually more like rap, where it's like, you know, it's like they're like a really crazy band. You still have like it's, you know, I guess you just want to see that change like on the outer edge of society. Like I was reading a BBC News article recently, and they sort of, and it wasn't about BTS. It was about a different, I think it might have been Harry Styles or something. It was about a different, you know, band or group or artist. But they made reference to BTS, and they were like, I think they said something like, oh, maybe it might be Billie Eilish. I think they said, you know, whereas groups like Harry Styles and BTS, they keep their fans interested with like the promise or allure of like love or romance. And I was like, no, they don't. Like, this is just somebody who's like, you know, they've heard that BTS is a pop group with attractive men in it, so then that's what it, you know, so that's as deep as they think it goes. And it's like, that's the kind of thing that's like, you know, a bit disappointing. And that, you know, it's nice when you have friends that are more open-minded, or, you know, or it's nice just to be like, because I'm the same way. Like before I heard BTS, you know, I kind of like, I had an inkling, or I hoped there was like something more to them than just the bubblegum pop thing. Like I said, nothing wrong with that, but, you know, I wouldn't personally be that into that. But I wasn't necessarily sure, so it was kind of interesting, and I guess like positive to have my preconceived notions challenged a little bit. You know, it was kind of a nice part of the reaction journey, was to be like, okay, you know, I was wrong about this, or like, you know, there's like, maybe I should be more open-minded about lots more stuff in life, because maybe my preconceived notions and you know, aren't necessarily true all the time or any of the time.
Yeah, that's also the same with me, right? I was the more I got into them, the more I started realizing that there's more to it, and that yeah, I really did like it. I like the depth that they have and how important their lyrics are, and it's just in general, I feel like it does help you out because their lyrics they always try to help people out or spread positive messages. So that's one thing I also really like how like genuine they are.
Yeah, yeah, that's a huge. I think that's a big part of it. Is like I don't think you can. People obviously say there's like manufactured artists. There's like they call them like industry plants. People say Billie Eilish is an industry plant or something. But I think it would be so hard to argue that for a group like BTS. I think you don't get that big without being sincere and genuine because that's you can get famous just off being attractive. For example, I'm working on it. You can get famous like just off being a really good singer without having any lyrical skill. You can get famous just off having good lyrics without being a good singer necessarily. But to like kind of in to but to actually become mega famous, like Beatles level famous, people have to look at you and be like, that is real. Like, like they can't, you couldn't fake like the friendship they have. And that's another thing I think that helps sell them to people is how cool their friendship is. And like, it also kind of breaks down like, I think like toxic, especially like toxic masculine ideas about what friends are allowed to be, especially if they're guys, like their friendships really something to like aspire to basically.
Yeah.
Like they're such good friends. I get lonely watching their content. I'm just like, oh Jesus! Like, imagine having six
I
best
know,
buds
right?
like that.
Yeah, they're all close. They hug each
Yeah,
other.
yeah, exactly. They like give each other the physical support, the emotional support. Um, there's a definite aspect about BTS that is just like you said, it's just very genuine and real. Um, which is one of the biggest reasons they're as huge as they are. I think.
Yeah, because I feel like that is what makes their fan base so big, because it makes you wanna stay. Like how
Yeah.
usually when there's like a voting for anything, the army will always want to help out. It's like they created this fan base to feel more like a family.
Hmm.
So it makes everyone want to help each other out. And that's why everyone always like stays in the fandom. They always help out with voting. They stream their music a lot and they just do what they can to help out. And that again, that's because of how genuine they are.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, the fandom is like it's so passionate. It's crazy. It's one. I think it's one of those things like I think I said this before, but anytime you go on like Twitter, the difference between like looking up your hobbies on Twitter versus in real life is like in real life you'd be like, okay, I found some people that like bowling, hooray, we all like bowling. On Twitter you're like, oh, I've joined a cult. I didn't realize apparently I'm in a cult. Like and BTS like definitely hits that wave. Like I'm like careful on Twitter because there's like it's almost like poking your bear sometimes, or like it's like like people take it seriously, and I understand why. But some people like I think it's even I don't know if I'm imagining this. I feel like I saw your community post when you said you were going to do a reaction with me, and someone in the comments said like, "Oh, I don't like that guy. He makes fun of BTS," and like that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like that's the problem it's like is BTS is so popular and huge and that people are like. They love them so much that they're like really defensive, which is very justified because BTS have like had some like crazy stuff thrown at them, and there's like been a lot of racism surrounding them. But but it's also like it's just intense. It's like if somebody's like just fallen in love and they have this brand new boyfriend, like you can't say anything about you have to be very
Yeah.
careful. Like you can't even make like and I don't mean like a joke as in like how some people are like, oh, I was just joking, but they said something horrible. Like I don't that's not my style of comedy. Like I just make very silly jokes and very inoffensive jokes. But I also do like sarcastic jokes because I'm English. But you can't even like you can't even be sarcastic around that person's new boyfriend. They're gonna be like, what did you say? Like so it's another
Yeah.
interesting thing. I don't know if you've ever like fell foul of the fan base or said something that people were like,
Oh yeah, yeah. It's.
yeah,
I kind of feel like it would be hard to do videos of them this long. And although
yeah,
I think the most recent one was months ago. It was when Jungkook got COVID
oh, okay, yeah,
when they went to I think it was Las Vegas. I think it
hmm
was during the Las Vegas time. So days before that they did a V Live which I reacted to, and then Jungkook had said that he hasn't gotten COVID yet. So he's probably like the super antidote. He said some joke like that.
yeah,
And in my reaction, I said, "Nah, man, don't say that. You're gonna jinx yourself." I know people who have said the exact same thing, and they ended up getting COVID soon. So then literally days later, he did get COVID. And then I made this video it was kind of like to joke a little bit, but also wish him well. So here's what the video was. It was the clip from my reaction.
Yeah.
That part, right? Jungkook saying, "Oh, like I'll never get COVID," and then me saying, "Nah, don't jinx yourself." And then it said days later, and it was the news from Weaver saying Jungkook got COVID. And then I just put like a GIF and a sound of like SpongeBob crying, and then at the end, SpongeBob is kissing Squidward, but where Squidward was, it was Jungkook's face, and it was said, "Get well soon."
Yeah.
So that was the video.
Yeah.
And it got a lot of hate, like, "Oh, you're making fun of him," or "How could you say this? He's going through a rough time," stuff like that. And I just had to end up deleting it.
Yeah, which is a shame, like, because it's like that's funny. Like that video is funny. It's harmless. It's also well-meaning. But I think the problem is, and I have the same issue, is that when people see your content and they don't know who you are, but they know who BTS is, and all they care about is who BTS is, their immediate reaction, not for everyone, just for certain types of people, is to immediately be defensive, even when there's nothing to be defensive about. And I don't judge people or begrudge people for it. Like, I understand it. I don't look at this and I'm just like, this is an outrage. Like, I'm being cancelled. Like, it's just one of those things. But it is unfortunate, especially when you share something and deep down you come from a good place, like because like that story you just described is a perfect example, because like that post is hilarious. And also I think the context is, which is important, is that we all know Jungkook's vaccinated, so like at that point hearing he's got COVID is more just like, oh, that's unlucky, but no one's thinking like, oh, he's gonna die or anything. Like it's so it's almost like somebody being like, oh, I don't want. Well, it's not quite a cold, but you know what I mean. It's like somebody being like, oh, I don't want to like catch a flu or something, and then being like, oh, I caught the flu, and you could be like, oh, like you said, your post even said get well soon and stuff. Like, but I can also see why people took it the wrong way. It's just unfortunate, but it's part of being on social media, is that not everyone can understand your intentions straight away. Yeah, so.
And then, what you said about people being defensive, actually, a short while ago, they uploaded a video of, J-Hope had a party before his, when his album released.
Mm-hmm.
They uploaded like a behind the scenes of the party, and they were making Jungkook seem kind of like shy in the video. I don't know if you saw it, but
yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, and then they half of the video was like Jungkook sitting alone, and they were putting like, Jungkook enjoying the party in his own way. Yeah. So in my reaction, I just said like, oh wow, Jungkook, they made him see shy. Like he seems like the type of guy who was like partying, who would party and be loud.
I said that in mine too.
Yeah, and then someone commented like, oh, like, how could you say that? Like, do you have fun making fun of Jungkook like that? And I'm just like, what the hell did I say? Like, I said that was the video seemed shy. They told me like, oh, why do you keep making such petty remarks towards Jungkook? And I replied to them like, I just said, yo, the only one being petty here is you. I didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
And then they were saying, no, you're saying because Jungkook. Like, do you enjoy saying these things about him? I was just so confused. Eventually, someone else like saw and replied like they said and defended me like, yo, like he didn't even say anything wrong.
Yeah.
But and then the person who was commented that apologized. Like they said that they're sorry, that it's just because Jungkook is their bias, so they're extra defensive on him. And I'm just like, what?
Right.
So that's your reason.
Yeah, it is. It is a shame, and sometimes I think, and this isn't an age thing, because emotional immaturity isn't something you're guaranteed with age. You can have people who are like 60 trolling on on YouTube. Like you never know. So I think it's an emotional maturity thing where some people can't separate like their obsession with somebody from anyone else even mentioning them in any way that isn't completely, absolutely fawning over them and like worshipping them, which I think is another shame, because that's why I think it's just you have this weird thing where some reactors or content creators are scared to even be slightly critical, to even be like, I didn't really like this song very much, not to like hate on it, just to be like, wasn't personally a fan. Some people are scared to do that kind of stuff, or there's but that ironically it leads to, because I think oftentimes the people that are very defensive would tend to maybe fall into the same category of people who are like, I don't like reactors, they just like use BTS for clout and stuff like that. I think there's probably an overlap there, but then the irony is these same people who will get mad if you do anything other than very positive stuff are kind of slightly breeding in the atmosphere where people don't feel like allowed to do anything anything slightly away from complete positivity. It's almost like they're helping reinforce this atmosphere where you have to be like, that was amazing, I love that, everything they do is perfect, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it is an interesting kind of irony, I think. But yeah, it's also interesting, I can relate to that. I've had comments like that, and it's a shame how those comments are the ones that stick out to you, not the really lovely, the really lovely comments you get from fans, from regular fans,
Yeah.
really sweet things, like, the ones that really mean a lot, but then, because it's human nature, the ones that stand out and you go to bed thinking about are people being like, how could you say this? And you're just like, what? I didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's the ones that keep you thinking at night. But yeah, I mean, thankfully I only had like a few of those. Hasn't been too much. Mostly it's been positive, so I'm grateful about that.
That's another reason I like reacting to BTS, is I think overall their fan base is much nicer and less toxic than people always see, like, oh, K-pop stands are toxic, and maybe that's true on like a certain, I think it's more like any fan base has very toxic fans, right? But then the fan base is so enormous, but there's just, by definition, if it's a percentage, there's just more toxic people.
Yeah.
It's just a size thing, and they stand out more. So, obviously, some areas of Twitter I've stumbled onto that like BTS stands, and I've just been like, "Ooh, I've got what is happening here, God? This is weird." Like, but 99.9% of BTS fans are just like generally really nice people, and it makes sense because BTS put a message out there that is very nice and very wholesome, I think. So it makes sense they attract mostly like nice and wholesome people. And I don't know about you, but like, I don't know if you've ever done any of music reactions, but like I said, I did some other bands and stuff, and immediately I noticed, this is another reason I'm perfectly happy to react to BTS, is I guess like my audience, according to YouTube, is like 70-80% female or something. I don't know if there's a correlation there, but the second I started doing a band that I guess has more female viewers, at least for reactions, the hate comments like disappeared to like a trickle. Like when I was doing like rap videos, it was like all hate comments, like so yeah, or like a lot of hate comments. Like so I think in general most BTS fans are pretty nice and kind of down to earth people, but then you can't help but remember the few times you get somebody like,
and then it's just the internet, right? Some people just behind the screen, anonymous, they don't care.
Yeah, exactly. And it is weird, especially when you didn't say anything. It's almost like if you're in a conversation with a friend and you were like, ugh, I just went to Walmart and it wasn't very good today. And somebody was like, what? What did you say about Walmart? Like somebody runs in like, what? I love Walmart. And you're just like, I didn't really, sorry. Like, it's just like, okay.
Yeah, those things you just can't really escape from, huh?
Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so you mentioned this a bit in the last topic, so let's wrap up because this is it's gone on for a while. It's been fun, but I'm also worried about my camera space. So
yeah,
let's wrap up because you mentioned the word bias. So do you have a bias, and also what do you think about the term and people asking people if they have a bias?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people always ask that, huh? Whenever they find out. Yeah. So I actually do. Well, first of all, I'm not sure how people pick their bias, right? Mine is Jimin, but for the sole reason, I always say this, because he's like the only man I would marry for reals. I said, you know what, Jimin, I love this guy. I would marry him for reals. He's gonna end up being my bias. It's because I didn't really pick a bias on like voice or abilities or stuff or dancing, because I just feel like they all have a certain charm and their own thing. Yeah. So it is hard, but I just thought, Jimin, I think he's good looking. I'll marry him. That's it. I'll leave it at that. I feel like maybe that's how a lot of people decide, right? Maybe their looks.
I think that's most of it, which is why I think it's quite a loaded question to ask somebody that you don't really know about. Because I think some people, when they say that, they basically just mean which one's your favorite. But a lot of people, when they say that, they basically mean which one do you find most attractive. And it's like, well, that's assuming a lot about somebody's sexuality. And I don't even think it's that, like, I don't subscribe to the idea that if you're straight or whatever, you can't find people attractive, because I think you have to be in denial, maybe, to be like, because I'd say, like, if I had to put myself on, like, the Kinsey scale, like the sexuality scale, I think I'm, like, 93% heterosexual, which is, like, fairly boring, but at the same time, like, 93, maybe 93.2, I don't know, but if I had to, like, put it somewhere, but, so yeah, maybe my college years are a bit more boring, but at the same, but I'm not closed-minded and I'm not an idiot. Like, I think people that say, oh, I'm straight, I can't tell if any man is sexy, are just are just like kidding themselves because of like weird homophobia or something. Like, you know, Jimin's very attractive. Jimin's like gorgeous, you know. Also, it helped, like Jimin. I don't know if you've thought this yourself, but Jimin looks exactly like Emilia Clarke. I don't know, you know, if you know her from Game of Thrones, like exactly, man. I don't know if you've ever like brought
really
their pictures up, but
yeah,
it's seriously, it's actually uncanny how similar they look. And you know, Emilia Clarke obviously is gorgeous.
Yeah, I'll look up pictures after this because I'm curious. Never thought
Seriously.
about it.
Yeah, it's.
So, what about you, Roy? Do you have a bias?
Yeah, so I think, so like I said, I think it's a loaded term. I think it's weird because some people ask you and they really do mean like, you know, which one would you fuck? And it's just like, that's kind of, but for me, it's like, you know, as far as like me gauging their attractiveness levels, I think Jimin and V are probably the most attractive, but it also seems silly because like, they're all so attractive and I can tell that, you know, objectively so attractive. It really seems silly to try and like pick them apart in attractiveness because it's just like, they're all like very handsome people. But as far as like just their personality and stuff, I kind of go back and forth, but I couldn't say any one. But I really like. I think the rap line, because I'm, you know, the rap line a lot, like RM, you know, Sugar, J-Hope. I think Sugar is the one I relate, and the thing I like about them is I relate to all of them like in different ways. Like I relate to V and Jungkook when they're like zoning out, or I relate to V when he's like making up new words and talking nonsense. Like I'm like that's me right there. But then I think I relate to Sugar the most because Sugar's like kind of cynical. Even though he's very loving and warm, he's like quite cynical and he's often there just like, you know, so it's like
yeah. Sometimes they're like all hugging and he's like he doesn't want to, like nah.
Yeah. He just says a lot of stuff where I'm just like, yep, I feel you on that one, my friend. So yeah, probably Sugar. Okay, so that was really fun. It was nice talking to you. I feel like we're kind of similar people, so you know this reaction thing is going to be fun. I can tell. What are we going to react to first?